it's difficult to have the idea of, oh, I'm going to own a home, but we were never taught how to save properly.
Exactly.
What up, world? Welcome to another riveting episode of Not For Nothing Podcast. While we are everywhere and nowhere at the same time, I am your host, Stevens Ramirez. And joining me here today is a woman like no other. She is more than a wife. She's more than a mother. She's an entrepreneur, a boss on her own terms, and also the other half of Alex Baez, Heidi Baez.
Yes.
Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for that wonderful, wonderful introduction. I couldn't have said it better myself.
Oh, yes. I try to make sure that I try to memorize certain things and making sure that, this is the powerhouse to quintessential mortgage group. Yes. All right. And making sure I'm like repeatedly practice that in my head, quintessential.
Yeah, it's a bit of a word. A lot of people get it a little wrong.
Oh, yes. I realized when I was like talking to Alex, I was throwing that at him. He's like, It's EXP Realty. I was like, oh, snap, that's bad on my end. But now that I feel more comfortable, now I could shout out his workforce and shout out your workforce.
Yes, thank you for that.
Like the sun and moon, y'all come together, y'all make the eclipse.
Yes. What is it, the yin yang?
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Also, like, today's topic, we're going to just try to go for, like, the home ownership and the journey towards it.
Okay.
Before we get to the subtle topics of, a mortgage broker or mortgage loan officer.
Yeah.
Right? Just to making sure that we dive in. But
yes.
I want to know, who is Heidi? Take me to the time where, you're a young girl helping out your parents, making sure everything is all in order. Talk to us about that South Bronx girl.
Got it. Yeah. So I am from the South Bronx, born and raised. I've always been, my parents are actually pastors.
Uh-huh.
So I grew up in church as well. That's a little bit of my background.
Yeah.
So, school comes into play. My dad's business, he started getting into business when I was about roughly 9 years old.
Really?
Yeah, my mom, she opened up her business as a daycare, owner.
Okay.
So she was doing that as well. So at the time they were like trying to figure out, what business they wanted to focus on.
Yeah.
And then once I made it to college, then my dad is like, I'm going to start investing. And I was like roughly 18, 19 years of age.
Okay.
But business has always been in my family.
Oh, right.
Yeah,
because I can see that.
Yeah, my mother began with her business as the daycare home owner.
Mm-hmm.
And from there, I went into college. My dad was like, okay, I want to do something different. He started investing in buying properties, multiple properties, multifamily homes. And then he's like, we need an accountant for the family. So then I studied accounting because of my dad. And I'm not going to say I hated it, but...
Was it difficult?
It was. For me, I found it very, I don't know if it was maybe the teachers at the time when I was taking the courses, but it was a bit difficult at the time. But I did pass it and I got my degree. But I never became a licensed CPA. So I do have my background of accounting, which helps me now in the business that I am today, because I can
always fall back onto it.
Yes, and I'm dealing with numbers now, so I can easily help them, structure something in particular in their tax returns, and we can understand that.
I think it must be like a blessing and a curse at the same time, because all right, I'm thinking of numbers of homes, or I think of the numbers of taxes, and then it's just like, okay, numbers.
It's all a numbers game here. Everything is connected, the tax returns, those numbers are its own. The numbers on down payment, closing costs, that also plays to play from the tax returns, so it's all it's all connected, and it all is, I don't know, I guess the process. So So I studied accounting, and My dad got me into the accounting
realm and all that
yes,
stuff.
yeah. And then after I said he wanted to invest and buy property. So then I got my real estate license.
Really?
Yeah, after I finished college. And
Okay.
then that's when I became a realtor. And it was also to, help my dad get deals and help him, continue his journey as an investor.
Okay.
So after that, yeah, I did I was a realtor for about like 5 years. After that, I met my husband. Well, actually, I met him in the business, and that's how.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Walk us through that type of journey. Like,
Yeah,
how
it's a
did
lot.
that happen, meeting Mr. Baez?
It was actually because of my dad. Yeah, he was shopping around properties, and Alex had a listing up, and my dad saw it. He called him up, and he's like, "Hey, I'm interested in this particular property. Can I view it?" So then from there, he was just talking about how great of a guy he was. He was an agent, and he's like, "Oh, you need to learn from him,"
Okay.
because I wasn't as good as Alex at the time.
All right.
So he's like, I think he would be a great teacher for you, because he started at the same time as you. You guys have the same amount of time in the business. Why don't I connect you guys? At the time, I was working in my dad's business, the pizzeria,
Okay.
while doing realtor work, so called. But I wasn't where my husband was at the time, like in the brokerage.
Yeah.
So then, Alex came to the pizzeria one day, and he's like, "Oh, I'm Alex. Your dad actually told me that you wanted to speak to me." I'm like, "No, I didn't, but okay." So that's how we met. It was through my dad and through his journey in finding properties and ownership. Yeah.
Okay. And meeting Alex and going through all that experience.
Yeah.
I'm aware that you guys were able to travel and build a better bond. Going to places like Hawaii.
Oh yes, that was for our honeymoon. It was a dream of mine to go to Hawaii.
Really?
Yeah, actually, in college, I set in my mind that I was going to move right after I graduated college to Hawaii, but things changed. I ended up getting my realtor license. I ended up focusing on that, and then I met my husband and everything. Once we did that, I did mention to him, "Let's move to Hawaii," and he's like, "I don't know about that. The money's here," and I'm like, "Okay, so how about let's just go and see if you like it." Turns out to be, I hated it. Yes, I hated it. I felt like it was very laid back.
Yeah.
It wasn't like strive, push for more. I need that rush.
Yeah, everything was like smooth coast.
It was like surfing. It was all about surfing. It wasn't what I imagined it to be. So comes to play, it was a great eye opener. I loved Hawaii. It's beautiful, but it just wasn't the place for me to live, and that's what I needed to see with my husband.
Oh
so.
wow. And hearing the stories and seeing the vibrant look in your eyes, like it just going down memory lane, it seems like accumulating experiences and accumulating a lot of personal contacts with people. I see that from my understanding and educating myself. Being like a loan officer, you got to be more of a people person.
Yes.
You're the first line of defense to let people know, hey, if you're aiming for this section, maybe we should see your structure is in order.
Yeah.
So seeing that you went to Hawaii.
Yeah.
And I could close my eyes and picture the situation like, oh, okay, I'm having fun, but it's not my cup of tea.
Yeah, it was just like that. Like it was very vacay mode. It wasn't like, okay, this is where I'm gonna make $1 million.
Yeah.
I mean, at least it could be for some people, but it just wasn't for me. And that's where everybody is different and their situations are different.
Okay.
Yeah.
And since now that you already experienced that motion and giving a brief glimpse of the background, because it seems like you are a genuine person, and especially coming from the South Bronx, it's like we know from our time era, it wasn't the most friendly place, but we were comfortable where we were at.
Yeah, I mean, that's where we were raised, right?
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
Just like, hey, you know what? I'm going to see you from face value and just keep it pushing. We're so used to getting to point A to point B.
Yeah.
And the moment we sit back and really see things through, then it's like, oh, okay, it is what it is right here, and we keep it moving. So my question to you for the audience is like, what is like what is the role of a mortgage broker, and like, for a common consumer like me?
Yeah.
So how can we come about to you?
Yeah. So, as a mortgage broker, I don't know if you know, but we have access to, well, in my particular case, I work alongside with 40 different lenders.
Okay.
So, a lot of people are skeptical, especially first-time home buyers, about buying their first home, because obviously they don't know what program is best for them, and they're kind of like shopping around.
Yeah.
So when you're shopping around, that's what I do. That's why you want a mortgage broker. You wanna make sure that you're going to be getting the best possible product for your particular scenario.
Okay.
So that's what we do. We shop around basically all those 40 lenders that we work with, finding the best product, best interest rates, and best closing costs, everything for our clients. So that's the beauty of being a mortgage broker. Now, coming about to me, in this case, since you know me, if you come across anybody that is interested in buying a property, I will take that referral. I will guide them as best as possible throughout the whole process and make it as smooth as can be.
Okay.
Just for them to understand, the whole mortgage.
So just thinking about you having access to 40, and I'm like, wow, that's a lot for my partake. And I guess probably before we get more into depth, I don't think anyone has asked a mortgage loan officer like, hey, how do you feel like, being the middle person between like, the bank lender and then the consumer, and like looking at the finances and just trying to make sure things are going according to plan. How difficult can it be for you?
Yeah. So, I mean, every situation is different. So there's no loan is the same.
Okay.
Like right now I have 2 teachers that I'm qualifying. One qualifies for way more than the other one, due to special circumstances, So it's not like a particular procedure that we use. We just go about the information you're giving me and then finding the best product for you. That's really what it is. I'm not going to say it's difficult just because, this is what I do. So I've kind of adjusted to understanding every person's scenario and what would be best for them at this point.
Okay. And wow, it's like I'm learning and picking up as long as we going.
It's a lot.
Yeah, like
we're learning something every day.
Like what I understood, like, just writing like for mortgage loan officers as yourself, is like personalized guidance. Like, okay, we gotta make sure, like, you're gonna follow this structure to the T. We gotta make sure you're okay, and if you're qualified or pre-approved, just to hit her up for pre-approval. I'm not playing games. So just taking that into account, like what advice would you give to like like say for me, for instance, or just a random John Doe, like, hey, I have good credit, but I'm somewhat in debt in my credit cards. How can I try to balance that out to get my home that I desire?
Yeah. So it will really depend on the time span that you want. If it's like a lot of credit card debt, if you have the time, start paying it off little by little. If you want to do this as soon as possible, we'll work with you with whatever you have going on and qualify you based on that particular situation. Because, it can always be better once you do pay off most of your debt. You will always qualify for a little bit more than you qualifying with the debt. So we'll find that happy medium. If you're looking now, we'll see what we can do now. If you have some time, we will guide you and say, okay, it would be best if you pay this card off, this card, I see that this is affecting your DTI. This particular card is affecting your DTI,
Okay.
And then we'll work on that. But that's obviously 2 different scenarios. If you have time, if you want to do this now, we'll qualify you based on your qualifications then.
Okay. So like, now hearing that and it's spinning the block because now we're in 2024.
Yeah.
Oh, Happy New Year.
Yes, Happy New Year. Oh my gosh. I totally forgot to mention that.
Oh yeah, like we
Yeah.
already like 2 weeks in. It's just like,
Yeah.
all right, ops normal. Let's get back to work.
Yeah, we're like work mode.
Oh yeah.
Focus.
And now that, like, correct me if I'm wrong, like seeing what the government is trying to do and implementing, like, lower rates. For what I saw was like for 2024 they're trying to push in for like 4.5, if I'm not mistaken. But I'm don't quote me on that.
I wouldn't say that because the market is so unpredictable.
Yeah.
They said that interest rates were going to come down to 6% in May of last year. Mind you, this was last year.
Wow.
And it didn't happen. On the contrary, it spiked up to almost 7.8. So we had 7.8 rates, almost 8.
Wow.
Yes. So, they can say, at the end of the day, they can say whatever they want. The market is always fluctuating every single day, every single hour. It's like stocks. It's going up and down. I don't want people to have the idea of, okay, rates are getting better now. Yes, pricing is definitely much better than it was in June or July. But that I want to say is going to go that low. We're going to have to see what happens. I cannot say, for sure, definitely, or the way the market is heading, because right now, you can kind of say like it's a bit of a recession. There's a lot going on in the market. Even with like realtors and, sales of homes, I feel like it's been at a steady pace. It hasn't been like a high spike of, oh, there's a lot of sales, or it's a seller's market, or it's a buyer's market. It's kind of been stable for the last months, I would say. Yeah.
Okay. And like, now taking that into consideration, because now seeing, like, understanding that you're a dynamic duo, you and your husband, and you were able to sell 40 plus homes within last year. Excuse me. But can you walk us through like the home buying process, like, working with you and then along in tangle with your husband? Like, can you walk us through those process?
Of course, yes. So when you're on the market to buy a home, the first thing you want to do is get pre-approved. Getting pre-approved will help you understand your financial situation and what you can qualify for. That way you don't waste any time in the market saying, oh my God, I really want this home. But then when you come to find out, you can't qualify for it, and then your home, your dreams are like,
crushed.
Crushed.
Okay,
but we would hate for that to happen, and don't feel like that, because at the end of the day, that's why you want to get pre-approved first. That's where I come into play. I meet with my client usually, a request, if they're a regular W-2 client, not self-employed. We're looking at 2 years W-2s. I'm running credit with an ID. Mind you, I only do soft pull, so it's not going to ding their credit. Okay. And 2 months bank statements. That's really all we need. And 4 pay stubs of your most recent job. But yeah, so with whatever you give me, whatever information you do give me, like I said, I'll find the best product and run the numbers for you and calculate what you qualify for. And then from there, I give you what's called a pre-approval. You bring it to Alex or your realtor, and you go house hunting.
Okay, and how long does the pre-approval process last? Like, once you do that little soft pull, like how many months are you able to, like, start looking at homes and being able to, like, okay, this is the home that we're interested in. Can we go to like an open house or something? Like, what was the duration of that? Yeah,
so a pre-approval is usually good for 30 to 60 days, depending on the information that you give your loan officer. Okay. So you should be good in purchasing or home shopping for about a good 2 months. And then from there, we'll review your documents if nothing has changed. Now, let's say if you change jobs during that duration of 2 months, then obviously things are different. You have to let your loan officer know. And that way they can recalculate everything. If, let's say, you're getting more money now in your job, since from what you last gave, the documents that you last gave your loan officer, then that changes things a little bit.
Okay, so and it's just another question that popped into mind. Like, what would be the process? Like, say for instance, we already passed the seasonal holidays where
Yeah.
everyone is actually spending a bit more than saving,
Yeah.
and things don't go according to plan. And say for instance, like that 60-day marker is up,
Yeah.
and they have to re-qualify for the pre-approval.
Yeah.
How does that process work? Do they just return everything as what you stated, like, pay stubs, identification cards, and W-2 forms? Is it just a repeat process?
So, if you stay with your same loan officer, then not really. All they would just need is just updated bank statements, and updated pay stubs.
Okay.
So, you want to stay with your particular loan officer that way because they already have the required information. But it all depends also if you're happy with the product that they're putting you under and things of that nature.
Okay.
So yeah, it's not always like we're gonna have to rerun credit. We don't have to do it until, like I said, we find you a particular home and you're already in contract. Then that's when we do the hard pull. So all we just need would just be updated documents.
So speaking with you, it's kind of a unique process that, like, hearing that, because you already have experience touching on the realtor portion of the world, and also touching on the mortgage loan officer portion. So you have like the best of both worlds.
I do, yes.
So that you could like see things in a different perspective where it's like, hey, you know what? Maybe we can navigate it on this route where it's a company towards your level of income.
Yeah.
Because like I think sometimes even for people in our borough, it's difficult to have the idea of, oh, I'm going to own a home, but we were never taught how to save properly.
Exactly. Yeah. So it's a series of things with that. Saving is a completely different ball game.
Okay.
Like from what you're making, you always want to make sure you're saving at least 20% of whatever paycheck you are getting.
Okay.
I know it seems like a lot, but it is doable depending. You got to just limit yourself.
Oh, wow. So,
Yeah.
so like now, let's say for instance, if I'm like a new home buyer and I'm aiming to utilize that, and from the people in the background know that I'm a military veteran. So like, what would be the best access to do so? Like if I were to decide to put down 10 or 20% down along with my VA loan, what would be the benefit outcome of that?
Yeah. So because you're a veteran, you don't need to put down anything.
Okay.
You're gonna be completely 100% financed.
Okay.
So you're not required to do 3% or 10%. You're always welcome to, obviously, but the VA product is one of the best products out there. Interest rates are better. There's so many other advantages with like down payment and closing costs. It's not a product. Obviously, it's only for veterans, but it's an amazing product.
Okay.
Yeah, to take advantage if you are a veteran.
And the access of like affordability and budgeting, like because I could see on your end, like especially doing the research and seeing like key points and understanding like what mortgage brokers do.
Yeah.
Because it's like you have to be personable. You have to be able to be like, hey, pick up the phone. Like, hey, I got a question. Yeah. I need like X, Y, and Z. If I can meet this requirement. And sometimes I feel like it's probably a difficult tangent for you on your end. And I just wanted to know, like, how can you make sure that your consumers are safe and comfortable on your end? Yeah.
It's a series of things. I think it's just building a relationship with the client. Sometimes it's not all about business, know. You gotta build a relationship, and then from there forth, that's when I would say that the consumer feels more comfortable, or relatable to whoever it is that is helping them in the process. Yeah. But it all comes from what's called, building relationship at first.
Okay, and since you have connections, because like it's not only that you have connections with your husband, you also have connections to inspectors and other licensed products that can help you purchase your home in an easier process.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So let's talk about those relationships that you have there. Like how like, you know, personable you are and very articulate. How do those relationships, like, you know, cross and coincide?
Yeah, I feel like we cannot do a business any deal without those relationships. Those relationships are essential. Like I don't know what we will be if I don't, you know, work with my bank attorneys or my particular attorneys and seller's attorneys or buyer's attorney. Like we absolutely need those people, and we need to have a good relationship with them because they're always going to move and push the deals forward. You know, it obviously having a relationship always helps. And you know, we can always refer clients to we're always referring clients to our referral partners because of what a great job they have been doing, and you know, obviously the deals that we have going on. So we know already what they can do, and that's why we refer them to our clients. But yes, they are so essential. You know, we need them. Very important in our business.
Wow. So now that you have those important connections and relations, like with other licensed personnel, what was your experience during the pandemic? Because I know it was very difficult for some individuals and not difficult for others.
Yeah.
So can you walk us through your experience as a mortgage loan officer? What happened there?
Yeah. So it was actually the pandemic was scary for a lot of people, but it was one of our best years.
How so?
Oh, there was a whole lot of refinances going on.
Really?
You know, the rates were at 2%. Almost one. Yeah, the lowest I saw was a 1.8. So it was a very different market than what it is today. So it was one of the best years. People were just calling us at that point. Obviously that's not what it is today. Yeah, because rates are at it. I would say not at a spike, but it definitely higher than what it was.
Yeah.
And it was one of our best years. Even for my husband Alex, he would sell homes but just showing a video. Oh my just a video.
I think you probably could agree with some or a good majority.
Some, yeah.
Like, hey, you know what? Because for me and how I expressed with my wife, I was like, hey, we could see pictures, but if we don't walk into it, then that's a whole different ball game.
Exactly.
So how unique is that like, hey, I'm gonna show you a video and it's the Wild Wild West. Oh yeah, take my money. Just shut up and take my money.
Yeah, it was crazy. That's what I'm telling you. Like, we never even thought that we can sell a home with just a video. Wow. But it literally happened that way. And, you know, believe it or not, the clients are very content with their home and the way everything played out. It's just a matter of, like I said, everybody's situation, you know?
Yeah.
If they absolutely need to buy a home, then they're going to love it no matter what, you know? So it's different, you know, unlike like you guys, you said you would much rather walk into your home and see if you and feel it, you know, it's completely different. But, you know, it was a great time, and I don't think this market is nowhere near that time right now.
No.
Yeah.
I guarantee it'll probably be a stampede if it
oh my gosh,
itself.
For sure.
So my question, like, did you have any like difficult moments or unique situations as like, you know, a mortgage loan officer? Like, you know, what stood out, like a moment where it's just like, wow, like this person's either difficult or I want to make sure this person get the right home that they desire, but they're not meeting the requirements. So like, is there any situations that come into mind that ever happened like that?
Can you just rephrase that?
Like situations where, like, you know, it was a heartbreaking moment where it's like, oh man, I wish I could have done more for you, but it kind of fell short because due to them being denied or they didn't follow the strategic plan. Got it.
Yes. So I can honestly say that there was one scenario like that. Not for them being denied, but because they didn't tell me everything, you know, and that's why it's essential that whenever you do get pre-approved, you need to be as honest as possible with your loan officer, because they're going to help you with every with every step of the way according to your specific financial situation. And I cannot stress that enough. So basically, this family didn't tell me that they were on looking for a new job.
Okay.
So I was qualifying them based on the documentation that they gave me, not knowing that they were already, that one person, because it was various people on the loan, one person was looking for another job.
Okay.
And unfortunately, the person left their current job to find this job, right? And it was just, yeah.
A whole shebang show.
Yeah. So
Okay.
then, because of that, and I did mention to them, do not do any big purchases. Do not leave your job because we already, qualified you based on this information. They just completely decided it was better for them. And at that point, everything just went south. But at that point, it was just because they didn't follow the steps and the advice that I had given them. And like I said, they didn't completely tell me all of their plans.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That must have been very frustrating on your end when you probably you did the legwork, you did the research, you connect and ties, and then boom, come up to your face like, oh yeah, this happened. And
Yes.
it probably was like, dang, I put hours and effort into this.
Yeah.
If you would have been upfront, we would have probably not have this situation at all.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, it's like I said, it happened one time. And I always stress to all of my clients, be as honest as possible with me, no matter how bad you think the situation is, because we're going to figure it out.
Okay.
We're going to figure it out together. So don't be scared, be honest, and definitely follow the instructions that your loan officer is advising you, because they know the game. They know what to expect from the underwriters. They know how to structure a loan. So why wouldn't you follow,
Yeah. Oh my
their
God.
advice? Yeah.
Oh, 100%. If they have more experience, like, hey, we've been dancing around this block more times than you can count.
Yeah. We're going to help you guys out. That's the point. We're here to help.
So what are some the common myths about the real estate industry and your experience and expertise? Because what are the myths of home ownership before having a conversation with you?
Yeah. So there's a lot of myths. You cannot buy a property if you have 600 credit score. I've heard that.
Okay.
We can go as low as 520.
Wow.
Yeah. So that's a myth. You don't need a 10% down to buy a multifamily anymore. You can easily buy, obviously it has to be a primary, but yes, you can buy a multifamily with a 5% down now.
Really?
Yes. And ITINs, tax ID numbers. A lot of people don't know. You can buy a property with your tax ID number. Not having credit, we have those programs. So these are all little things, little myths that I've actually encountered and seen people that don't know that they can purchase properties.
Wow. And I'm seeing now that there's a trend of where, well, not as a trend, but more push, hey, buy multifamily homes and being able to have it pay for itself.
Yes.
So to speak. So, but just hearing that, I'm just oh, wow. I didn't even know none of that. From my understanding, I was oh, okay, I can't get a home unless I have a 640 and above.
Yeah. You see, so those are myths, but of course your credit helps out with the interest rate.
Yeah.
So we definitely push for you to work on your credit so you could get that better interest rate. But it's not impossible, or it's not I don't want anybody to feel like they can't, or they're not gonna qualify due to their credit score being that low. We'll find the perfect program for them.
Oh, wow.
And like I said, we have programs for 520. So a lot of people don't know that.
Yo, hit up Quintessential Mortgage Group. I'm not playing games. She's dropping gems. So now just hearing about that and teaching the audience and letting them know hey, there's these common myths that could be debunked if you find the right person to actually would put in the work for you. Because from what I'm hearing and understanding, that you are hey, you're a dedicated worker. You make sure you look at the fine print.
Yes.
You make sure hey, these are the programs that you qualify for. Let's see, we can hunker down and find the ones that's beneficial. So can you provide some examples of like, how assessing a buyer's financials principles and helping them determine like, their affordability? Like,
Yep.
how do you go about that?
Yeah, so like I said, I look at their financials. So I take an average of what a regular once again, I'm gonna just speak about a W-2 person that is working a job, that's receiving a W-2. We take an average of both of 2 years of their current job. We also qualify them based on what their pay stubs are saying, because we also need to know if they're doing overtime, and all of this comes to play. We also if they qualify for a particular amount that they're not happy with, we add on what's called a cosigner. The cosigner helps to in very different cases, a cosigner will help in adding more income, monthly income to the loan, which will make you guys qualify for more with the bank, obviously.
Okay.
So, that's kind of the steps. We look at the documentation, we take that documentation, we put it in our system, we review all of that, and we see what would be the best quality fee, because there's also people that have enough to put a little more of a down payment.
Yeah.
So they would qualify a little more because of that. So it's all a balance in knowing what particular what they have going on.
Okay. Like now this started clearing a lot of clouds in my head, because like when you especially having like a cosigner and what I've saw on social media, like, oh, you get a cosigner, make sure you get a title, make sure you get like certain stipulations. Well, that's just like fluff that what I've seen, because I'm like, if I'm not talking to an expert person, I'm just taking it with face value.
Well, because title comes to play when you're about to purchase the home. You want to buy a home that's clear on title, that doesn't have any title issues. So that's I feel like that's different than actually qualifying, because you got to qualify to get there.
You
understand?
See, like it's just clearing out all the doubts right there. So I'm like, okay. And like just processing on 2024, because like for what we have seen, the trending, like, hey, that potentiality that the market might like go down or crash in 2024.
All predictions though.
Right? So like in your expertise, how you stay updated in the current trends and technologies, and like of course of artificial intelligence, like how do you compete and still maintain educated on both fronts?
Of course. So our lenders, we have amazing lenders. They're always putting out videos for us to learn and pick up on little tips and tricks, especially on the market. Market updates, obviously we follow the market, the stock market as well, that we know how to read certain things that do let us know, okay, it's up or it's down. So there's various of things that we do. Quintessential, my company, they are so great with like training. We have a monthly meeting that lets us know we bring in a new lender, or a lender that we have currently that we're working with, teach us something new about a different product. And like I said, there's always something to learn every single day, and there's always new products coming out. So we're always up to date, thanks to our company, Quintessential Mortgage Group. They're great with keeping us up to date with everything. And our lenders, our amazing lenders that help us close so many of these tough deals, because we don't just get those, a perfect 800 credit score loan. We get the tough ones, we get the ITINs, and they help us, close them. So
like what is that, the ITINs? Like can you break that, because it sounds like
sorry,
like, I'm like, oh yeah, that's my bread and butter. I was strong on that.
Oh my God,
one.
I love that.
Okay.
That's my clientele has been mostly tax ID, and it's because we target it. And like I said, a lot of people don't know that they can buy with these with this particular number.
Wow.
So when they see that, they're like, okay, well, let's see. I've run the information that they give me, and come to find out they do qualify. And half of the time, like I said, they don't know. It's gotta be put out there more, because you guys can be homeowners, and it is possible.
Wow. So like, see,
Yeah.
just hearing you and seeing the light, just talking about the work and the grind. It's
Yeah.
like, I wrote down like, key points of like what makes a mortgage broker, and you just
Yeah.
already like hitting every single one
Oh,
of them. Like,
yay. I'm happy about that.
expertise, like the expertise, the access of multiple lenders, personalized guidance, saving time and effort instead of like, concerning of multiple lenders. Like
Yeah.
like the pinnacle point, the go-to person.
Yeah,
and
I have the connections.
yeah, right. It's like boom, boom, boom. I'm gonna connect you to the right person.
Yeah.
And also enhancing negotiation power.
Yeah.
And that's the part I'm like, ooh, that's a key point. It's like they're like, you know what? We can come up here and like, we come to play. We're not just setting down on no simple small terms. We came here to work. And that's the part that I see.
Yeah. We need that mindset.
Oh, 100%.
Or else we're never gonna get it done. We
Oh,
have
yeah.
to. We always got to find a way to get it done.
Oh yeah. Because like now, even now for I would say on my endpoint, like the hesitancy, the afraid to take the leap of faith. But now it's just like, hey, if I do, damn if I don't. If I don't commit, well, what's the worst thing they could tell me? No.
Exactly. That's the worst thing, honestly. And what are you gonna do if they tell you no?
All right, I'm just gonna be better and go on.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's not that scary, right?
Oh wow! Hearing it out loud. It sounds so simple now, right? So like,
I know it's not always that simple though, but
obviously, but
yeah, for different situations. But yeah, that's most. When you come to think about it, it's really that.
Okay. Oh wow! Like it. And as you can see, like I'm constantly thinking and having like the face expressions. 'Cause it's like wow, it's like you're building it brick by brick. Because like I really did like took the time to write down key points.
Okay.
And each time that like you're hitting it, like simplifying the paperwork and documentation, education and support. And it sounds like you're very knowledgeable with the experience of your real estate experience and your mortgage experience from your company. It's just like, oh wow, you are actually providing the peace of mind for the consumer. And especially like, obviously it's not so common having a husband-wife business where like, one is having each other's back. Like, hey, I got my 6, you got my 12, and we just going to make sure everything is good to go.
Yeah.
So even then it's just like, oh wow, like
that's the beauty of it.
Hearing the powerhouse, like, EXP Realty and Quintessential Mortgage Group. Yeah, I got it right, Alex. So I'm making sure I'm remembering everything.
Yeah.
So it's just like, wow, processing it.
Yeah.
And hearing you, it sounds like you providing ongoing support.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, I'm gonna from what I've read on the reviews and understanding, like, hey, you provide peace of mind and you do a checkup, like, hey, everything is okay. Are you satisfied? And everything is working.
Yes.
Like, can you tell us like one of their most rewarding moments? It could be anything in particular that you felt like, yo, I put my best foot forward for this homeowner, and you could see the tears and the elations and all that stuff. Can you walk us in one of those experiences?
Oh my God, I get those all the time. I tell my husband that, because I like you mentioned before, I had the realtor side, right? So I have experience on that, and now I have the financial side of it. So I feel like I see more of the gratefulness from our clients from the financial side, because the realtor side, it was just like, hey, we're here to help you, but they were just like, yeah, okay, thank you. And, we got it done. We sold the house. I'm not saying that's in every case, but, I'm saying that most of my clients that I have seen that have been shedding tears and being so grateful with me, I've seen from the mortgage side of things. So, yeah, like I said, my tax ID community, they are so grateful just because they don't believe that they can buy due to the myths and the stories that other people plant to them. They don't, not every bank has access to all of these programs. So how will they know if they don't come across the right person for their particular scenario? So yeah, I love to see it. And I think that's one of the most rewarding things of this business is, getting somebody into that new home that doesn't feel or doesn't believe that they can purchase it. I think that's the most rewarding thing.
Wow. And just
Yeah.
hearing that, it like another thing that just coming into mind, because it's like, of course, how many people would have access to a person that has access to 40 different components?
Levels. Yeah.
So like, how easier? Well, not easier. Let me reword this. How difficult would it be for an individual to go to a bank? It's like, hey, I need a loan for this home,
Yeah.
versus going to you. Like, well, how difficult would that be?
Yeah, and that's it comes, to basically down to knowledge, like a lot of people don't know that, brokers have access to certain programs that not, X, Y, and Z bank does, so I guess it's just who do you reach out to? You just want to reach out to everybody. Let them know that you're in the market, that you need help. And maybe that person will refer, hey, I actually know a mortgage broker. Let me connect you, But in this case, I hope that you would refer me out to those people that need help in purchasing.
Okay.
home.
Wow. Like, wow.
Yeah.
Like, I kid you not. It's like, it's revamping a lot of things in me, especially like for my wife, for instance. She always like, hey, let's look at what's going on here. Let's see what's going on here. Like, what demographic would you see yourself in? There's always the hypotheticals. Like, hey, how do you feel? And like, my experience with law enforcement and all that stuff. I'm like, hey, wait, my three things is education, crime rate, and what's the closest supermarket? Like how can we like sustain our lives? So
Gotcha.
my question to you, like, for someone who's unsure about investing at a home, like, what would you say, like, are some of the key advantages of home ownership?
Yeah, there's a lot. First thing is first is you're never losing value when you're buying a property. It's always going to increase in value. It's always going to be more tomorrow than what it is today. So if you qualify now, go for it now. You have nothing to lose. Take that leap of faith, take that risk, because life is about risk. I'm sorry if I said that wrong.
Oh, you're perfectly fine.
So it's all about, taking the risk and having faith. And, a lot of the times when me and my husband bought a property, I'm like, I was scared, because it's new, right? Like I said before, whenever something is new, it's uncomfortable. Why? Because it's growth. Growth is uncomfortable. You're growing out of who you were before. So, you always want to just go for it, if you qualify.
Wow. Oh, wow. Like, you know what? Like, I've enjoyed this segment so much, because like now I'm learning a bit of process of who you are as an adult now.
Yeah.
And learning that, like, what you do for your company and how you assist the consumers, and like, hey, I want to give you a peace of mind. I'm going to educate you. I want to make sure we set up a structure so we can go to the next level and becoming home owners.
Yeah.
And like, or potentially invest in other locations.
Yeah.
And I sincerely appreciate you joining us here today.
Oh, thank you.
And teaching the knowledge to the audience.
Yeah.
Thank you for subscribing. I would like you to just like look at the description below. Follow Hidey Baez, and her Instagram will be in the description below. Yeah. Making sure I add all the additional links. Quintessential Mortgage Group. Thank you for coming in today.
Thank you so much for having me. It was an honor, honestly. I really appreciate the opportunity.
Oh, yes. Thank you.
Yeah.
Have a good one. Peace out.